So the topic I've been stewing about today is the current state of American hip hop and rap music. And before I begin, I just want to, let everyone know I'm coming at this as an insider, as someone who actually has enjoyed rap music, hip hop music. I grew up on it. So I'm not one of those folks that's, just hates rap music. I like rap music. So I'm coming at it from a perspective of someone who hopefully will help improve the game a little bit because what I've been seeing over the years it's just gotten crazier and crazier. And I really don't see anybody talking about it. I mean, especially those, in the culture, because I think every culture needs to hold itself accountable. It's not really up to outsiders to hold the culture accountable. It's up to the folks who are actually in the culture, I think, to hold them accountable. Again, if anything I'm saying, people disagree with, that's okay. I mean, because we all have different opinions about stuff, but I've had discussions with this with a wide variety of people, and no one has been able to, at least from what I can recollect, give me a very logical rebuttal to my viewpoints. I'm always open to a rebuttal. I'm always open to people with different viewpoints, but usually what happens is I get no rebuttal. I get silence, crickets essentially, or actually that's usually what happens, or the answers I get are like, huh? Now you got to remember, like when I'm dealing with issues, I'm dealing with things from a biblical standpoint. I realize not everyone deals with life that way. That's how I've dealt with life. It's the way that, I was, like I said previously, I was raised in the church, but I got discipled, when I was in college. So that kind of gave me, the biblical worldview. I'm actually able to apply the Bible to the practical everyday things of life. And one of the things after, being discipled in the Christian faith, I realized is there are certain things in my life that went away, or desires changed, or stuff started to, I've started to really question some things. And one of those things that I want to focus on today is, the hip hop and rap culture. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's, it started off, I grew up, I tell my students even to this day, I was around when the first rap song came out, the first hip hop song, Rappers Delight. Some of the old schoolers know that, the hip hop, you don't stop to rock to the bang bang, boogie to up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to be. Now, what you hear is not a test. I can't remember the rest. Me, my crew, and my friends are going to try to move your feet or something like that. Okay. But as you can see, I wasn't meant to be a rapper. So, I'm going to stay in my lane, stay in engineering. That's what I decided to do. Stay in engineering, became a math professor, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. So don't have, those rap skills where I knew I was going to make it. So I digressed. But, yeah, so I'm just kind of baffled that no one really calls these people to account. You have rappers, I'm just gonna go right in because I'm not gonna even beat around the bush. But you have, again, I'm not talking about the people who are trying to do the right thing. I'm not talking about those rappers who have kept it on the up and up, who have used rap as a medium to inform what's going on as far as, what's going on as far as injustice in society and things like that. I'm not talking about those rappers, okay? I'm talking about the ones who are essentially degrading the culture, degrading women. And I hear no one on with a huge platform really calling these people to account. Again, it should be happening within the community. We should not be tolerating certain things. After, when I was in my 20s, I was into the mainstream rappers. I'm not going to mention names because people know who they are. I'm not here to call out names and bash specific rappers. I mean, you all know who they are. I mean, you all have common sense. We all have common sense. But I was like listening to some of this stuff. Again, I own this stuff. I bought this stuff, okay? I bought this stuff. So I'm not talking as someone who is just a theorist. I'm actually someone who has, been a part of that culture, so to speak. So I bought this stuff. And after a while, I was like listening to it. I was like, wait a minute. I mean, I know it has a good beat and all, but what are they saying? Wow, what are they saying? I just can't continue to listen to this. So I ended up throwing a lot of the stuff I had away. I just could not have that stuff in my house. It was just degrading to women. I mean, it was degrading to culture. I mean, some of it was even against my Christian faith, you know. I would say some of it was even, you know, I mean, I don't want to be too, you know, I don't want to be, um, go too far out there, but I don't think I'm overstating this, but some of the stuff is blasphemous, you know, as far as these rappers, you know, how they were speaking of God and, certain things that, you know, I deem to be, you know, you don't speak of in that form of fashion. Again, I remember, you know, years ago, again, I'm not going to name any names, okay? But I mean, there was a rapper and the name he gave himself was like, what? And no one is like saying, hey, that's, you know, that's not cool. I mean, that's, you know, you don't, you know, the last person I remember who was trying to be God was Lucifer, and he got kicked out of heaven. He was basically saying, I will basically, which is ridiculous notion, you know, someone thinking that they can actually, you know, a created being, you know, saying they can be God. He got him kicked out of heaven. He became Satan. So you have these rappers who have that same kind of mindset, and no one is like bothered by that. I mean, it's obvious in the music. They've said out their own mouth. No one says anything. No one, especially now, I'm talking now to Christians like myself, okay? I'm talking to Christians like myself. Okay, we get upset when people say things about our culture, right? We get upset when people say things about our family, as we should. But when people are disrespectful of our God and we don't say anything, I'm like, okay. And we continue to support their music. We continue to listen to their music. I mean, I know it sounds good. I mean, again, I bought it, okay? I bought some of this stuff, all right? So I'm not just pointing fingers. I'm guilty of some of this stuff myself. But I'm like, after a while, I was like, I just can't, in good conscience, continue to listen to this stuff and support this stuff. Because it's just, first of all, it's just, a lot of it's like a sewer. I mean, people cannot make their points without using a bunch of profanity, right? I mean, okay, yeah, they might make some good points, but if I'm talking to someone just in the conversation and they cannot make their point without using a bunch of profanity, they've already lost me. And unfortunately, a lot of this hip hop music that's out there, yeah, I'm not saying they're not making good points. They're not making truthful points. But why do they have to mix in so much profanity and foul language when they make these points? Doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I mean, to me, that's a hint that something is off base. So, again, I mean, I've been thinking about this stuff for years. I've been trying to talk to people about it. And, I mean, I just hate to say it, but I think there's just a lot of ignorance out there. I don't think parents know the depth of depravity to which hip-hop music and rap music has sunk to. I mean, it's just like now, I'm sure I'm not even aware of a lot of the stuff that's going on as far as some of these social media platforms. I mean, I heard a podcast recently and the kids are saying, hey, the parents don't have a clue about what's going on in my life as far as the social media and stuff like that. They don't have a clue. So, I mean, again, that's a whole nother discussion there. But the bottom line is, I'm saying that to say, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm blaming, the elders in my community, parents, my elders, because it may have been an issue of they just didn't know, because they grew up in a time where music was safe. So that whole concept of music being a dangerous place just may have been, I'm sure, just foreign to them. So I want to be careful about judging those, my elders, when I say elders, I'm not talking about just even my family. I'm talking about just elders in the community, civil rights leaders, things like that. But I'm just baffled. I mean, they got to know, because I remember we had a very prominent political leader. Again, I'm not going to name names. I'm not here to, point fingers at, specific people. But we had a very prominent political figure who was touring around with one of the most profane rappers I've ever heard. And this is one of the rappers whose music I threw away. I'm like, okay. I mean, so we are so, I guess, adamant about criticizing evil outside of our community. It could be any evil. It could be entertainment evil. It could be evils of racism, whatever, all right? It could be, we're very adamant to criticize it outside of the community where we don't have that much control over, right? But we won't look withinward and see, okay, what's going on within our community that's really pulling us down. Now, back in the day, rap music was, I would say, more socially conscious. And again, I'm not saying the rap music that's out now is not socially conscious. I'm sure there is some out there that's socially conscious, but the stuff that I've heard, since the 90s, most of it, even if it's socially conscious, is very profane, very depraved. They mix in so much stuff. So it's kind of like the situation, if you have a brownie, right, and the brownie is delicious, right, but say, I hate to be kind of graphic, but I'm gonna do it anyway, but someone puts a little poop in that brownie. Even though it's just a little poop, would you still eat the brownie, huh? It's the same way with this music. I mean, some of it might be good, but they've kind of sprinkled in some of that poop, and I'm like, yeah, because you put all the other drama in there, I'm not even sure if I want to hear what you're saying now, because you done polluted the game, okay? So I'm just wondering, I mean, why is that? Why do we, again, this is with anything. Why is it that those in that culture, we are so adamant to vehemently, adamantly criticize the evil outside the culture, but we don't deal with the evil inside the community, because we have more control over that. And I just don't get it. All right. If someone could tell me, because I've been asking for years. I've been asking these questions for years. No one's been able to give me an answer. So maybe somewhere out there social media could give me an answer, but no one's been able to give me an answer. I mean, I'm really embarrassed by what's out there. I'm just embarrassed. And back in the day, I mean, I was cool with it because it was it was all in fun. It was about, making fun of stuff that's going on in society. It was about, as they say, checking people. But it was all done in fun for the most part. But it just took a turn. Again, this could be a whole nother discussion. I don't want to go on for, hours here, but I just kind of want to throw some thoughts out there on why is it that there is no one, with a platform who is, and again, I've been looking for this person. I've been looking for someone for the past 10, 20 years, 30 years. I think the music took a real bad turn around 1990 or so. But again, not all of it, but I'm saying the stuff that's popular seems to be the stuff that's the most violent. It's the stuff that degrades the women, the stuff that has all the profanity in it. That seems to be the most popular. Again, there were some clean rappers out there that, were doing some good music, but I don't think they really made it that big, right? So I actually had to decide to start listening to, mostly, if I would listen to rap, it was just Christian rap, because they did still deal with some of the social issues, but they didn't have to mix in all the profanity. They didn't have to, mix in all of the degrading of women, calling of names, at least, maybe the beats weren't as tight. Okay, they didn't have the millions of the recording industry backing them up, basically feeding that pollution to the community, because they had millions of dollars behind them. But they had great beats, so they were basically delivering a bunch of garbage. But because they had great beats, it got a pass, right? Which is crazy. I mean, I remember, again, I'm being a little transparent. When I was in college, I remember when I was in college, I mean, some of the music would come on, and even though I wasn't really living for God like I should have, I would have to get off the dance floor, because I was like, I was at some parties. I was like, I would have to get off the dance floor, because I was like, yeah, even though the beat is good, I mean, I just can't. Do these people hear the person singing in this rap music? I mean, does anyone care? I mean, do we really care? I mean, do we really see? It's like we see the log in everybody else, but are we actually looking at? We see the splinter in everybody else. I mean, as the Bible talks about. But do we see the log in our own eye? Okay. And again, I'm not knocking everybody, but I just want some answers. I mean, if someone knows of a rapper out there right now that's, mainstream rapper that's, not using a bunch of profanity, not degrading women, not calling people names out their name, uplifting the community, let me know, because I'm open to listening to it if it's out there. But everything I've seen so far since around the 90s, as far as mainstream, that's being supported by these big name record companies, there's a lot of poop in there, just to be blunt, right? So I'm like, I'll just stick with what I'm listening to. I mean, because the Christian rap game has come up significantly. A lot of good artists, credible artists. You know, like I told my students, I've been around the rap hip hop since I was a kid. So I know how things have evolved since it began. So I'm not talking as somebody who doesn't know, hasn't been listening to it. So if someone knows of any of these artists mainstream who are trying to do the rap game right, let me know, because I haven't heard it. A lot of what I hear stuff on campus. I teach at HBCU. I hear stuff on campus. And again, this is not a black-white thing. This is just because I think our culture in general, black, white, whatever, we've just gone down. I mean, we just need to really just repent of all, all this depravity that's in the culture. And this is not just black culture. This is everywhere. This is pervasive across America, right? So we just need to really look at ourselves as a country and look at the media we're producing, look at the music we're producing, and ask the question, why is this selling? Why is this popular? And why aren't the leaders, the elders of our society, speaking out on these issues? Because we can't actually control these kinds of issues. I mean, why aren't some of the forefathers of hip hop music and rap music, why aren't they speaking out? And maybe they are, I just didn't hear them, okay? But why aren't they speaking out on the depravity and how, now this music is being used to degrade the culture? I'm hoping that day will come. I'm hoping that day will come when we will hold, the arts to a much higher standard than what we're doing now. That some things will just not become acceptable. Because to my knowledge, I'm not aware of other cultures who have a music form where it actually degrades. I mean, if someone can tell me, let me know. But I'm not aware of any culture where the music is actually used to degrade the culture, degrade people. I'm looking at just other cultures around the world. I'm just not aware of a musical medium that's doing that. The only medium I'm aware of that's doing that celebrates violence, that's, glorifies that kind of stuff, is American hip hop music. Again, I am open to correction. And again, I've listened to a lot of stuff, so y'all can't run a game on me because I bought the music, I've listened to it. So I'm not speaking from someone who hasn't listened to the stuff. So I know a lot of people may have not listened to it, but I've actually listened to it. And I'm like, why is that selling? Why isn't there people upset about that? But we're upset about all this other stuff, which we should be upset about. We should be upset about justice. But why don't we look in our community and ask ourselves the question, why is this kind of stuff popular? Okay, we need to really ask ourselves that question. Again, I went way past 15 minutes as I had planned, but I've been thinking about this stuff for years. I'm open to a discussion, but I get crickets, so it's okay if I get crickets this time. I don't mind. I'm kind of used to it, but it's just kind of bizarre when no one wants to even have a discussion about it. It's like the elephant in the room. I'm going to leave it there.